In the studio with me, Gil McLachlan. Good morning.
Hey Neil, how you doing?
I'm okay. Are there any rules covering somebody on parole playing football?
No, there's not. I mean, we have background checks for coaches and others, but it's not doesn't apply to the playing group, and it's
so you wouldn't even have the club wouldn't even have to inform opposition clubs.
No, and there's a question about whether that's appropriate for a player as well. So there's the threshold issue: do they have to, or can they? And then is it appropriate?
What's your view? I mean, he's wearing an ankle bracelet. Several of them are playing with ankle bracelets.
From what I know of this issue, first of all, on-field violence is unacceptable in any form, and so the mere fact that the 17-year-old boy was hit's a problem, and we're working as hard as we can to eliminate on-field incidents. Then there's the issue itself, and I haven't seen the video, but the facts from a distance would ask the question, why only 3 weeks? And our guys have spoken to Stephen Reaper, head of AFLW, who's asking questions this morning. So I need to get to the bottom of that, because I don't know. Because from a distance, it seems an inadequate sanction, but there must be reasons, or I'll get to the bottom of that. And then there's the third issue about the player being on parole, or potentially, I mean, it's as relevant, I think, as if he had a conviction in the past. He wasn't on parole, but had been convicted of an offence in the past. Should that prohibit him? And that's a debate, and I'm not sure that per se people don't get a second chance in life.
Oh yeah, I don't think you can really object to him playing, but I wonder whether it wouldn't be fair, given particularly if you're wearing an ankle bracelet, it's pretty obvious. Wouldn't be fair that opposing clubs and the league was told. I don't think even the league was aware. Yeah,
it's a good debate. That for me, it's the more the focus is on. It shouldn't have the incident shouldn't have happened, and then when instances do, because they do, there needs to be the right accountabilities, and we need to work out why 3 weeks when there's been a concussion and a broken jaw behind play on face value has been advised.
Yeah, well, I've seen the video. It was right off the ball, and it was a raised elbow to the head.
Yeah, right. But I'm asking the questions I only found about this morning.
If you believe the sanction is arguably should be stronger, is it open to the league to do something about it?
Well, there'll be appeal windows. Whether they've closed or not, I'm not sure. But there's the issue, and then there's the messaging broadly about accountability, which is strong. We need to make sure people are held accountable for their actions at all times.
I'm also told by a number of police that legally a player can face charges if the injury, such as a broken jaw, is not in the run of play. It's not sort of, and this boy's dad, in fact, said, "Look, if it happened in a fair contest, no problem.
Yep.
If the kid breaks his jaw, then you cop it. But if it's not in the run of play, I'm told it can, in fact, lead to police charges."
It can, yeah, and that's a question for police. Yeah,
which in this case would put the man back in jail.
And that's happened. Yeah, I think that no one accepted, and does happen in the right circumstances.
Well, that potentially puts a man back in jail.
Yeah.
If you've done it and you've breached parole. If you did it in a pub, you'd be in strife.
That's right, and that's a question then for the police.
Okay, but so the bottom line is the AFL is having a look at it.
Yes, and for I think it was Tony.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll reach out through the league, and hopefully Tony and at the right moment.
Oh, I have talked to Tony about it, about the father about it.
Well, he's asked for I guess an accountability or an explanation from us, and it's appropriate that we'll look at it and go back to him.
Yeah, and he's got a history of playing himself. He did tell me he was a gun player in a pretty rugged league.
Yeah,
Diamond Valley.
I could tell from listening to him on the radio that Tony's played.
Yeah. Okay, AFLW, having a rough time here. Daisy Pearce, one of the greats of AFL, of women's footy, says, a 6-game home and away season, it's a gimmicky tournament.
Well, the first thing to say, Neil, is that no decision's been made. There's a discussion about the format for AFLW next year. The moving pieces are we're expanding to by 2 teams. We like starting the weekend after the Australian Open with clean air. We have a good run then through February and March. We want to introduce a semi-final or prelim final. We want to bring in a final before the final next year, and I know that the female players want that. We're working with broadcasters to get their broadcast obligations away. We are very keen on continuing to nurture and protect VFLW and other state leagues and not overshadow them by taking all of those players out of the pool and allow our players to go back and play in those leagues. We want to continue to develop 16, under 18s, and others to come through, and we're making decisions with a 30-year view, not in year 3. There is no bigger priority for us in AFL head office than AFLW and the growth of women's football. No bigger. There are others equal, but it's a huge priority for us. So
what's
we were working with all.
There'd be a rule change.
So my point is, the team are working through it, and they'll do wherever they land will be to balance all of those issues.
All right. So you haven't got a preferred option yet.
No, I don't think so.
You take her point though. 6 games, 10 teams, pretty Mickey Mouse.
No, you can debate that. That's if it was, and there's no decision to be made, and then there's prelim finals and finals. It'd be 8 games and over 2 months. I mean, the World Cup goes for 4 weeks. I don't think anyone calling that Mickey Mouse. I think it's balancing all of those issues up. In an ideal world, Daisy's saying everyone would play each other once, and I understand that. But I've outlaid for you as clearly as I can all the things that everyone's working through to try and get to the right outcome.
Why is it that there's no bigger priority for AFL than AFLW for the AFL?
Well, it's a bit dramatic in the sense of, if you take it literally, but I'm saying it is a huge priority for us, and there's nothing that we're prioritising more than getting the right decisions on this.
2 buys next year. When you give it to them, give it to the coaches seem to want 2 buys, and the players, will they get it?
Keep talking to them, but unlikely, I think.
I don't think the fans are big on buys.
No, there's a number of people who are not big on the buys.
What do you think of them?
Which again is balance, but where we've landed in the last years is with 1 buy, Neil, because of all the broader context and interest in this, and that's I think that says about where I come out.
1 million members of clubs. Yeah. How many of them are pets?
Hopefully none.
I think there are pet members.
There might have been a few pets historically. I reckon I think the pets are off the register.
How many of them are restricted game members, like, not full members? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't have the exact number, but that's certainly been part of the growth. And people will try and say, well, there are only 5 game members or something. I think people are missing the point. That people are making an emotional commitment and investing in their footy team and their footy club because they love being part of it, and it's an inclusive place and the pride and the passion they have. So I think the breakdown, we're having different membership categories to appeal to different parts of the market, and that's a big part of the growth, and I think means the clubs are doing a great job.
The Tigers do have pet membership.
Do they?
Mm.
What, for if you have a
$40
tiger?
$40 a year, you get a frisbee and a photo frame.
Well,
for your puppy. You've got a dog, haven't you?
You wouldn't qualify then, because you have to pay more than $50 to be a membership that qualifies.
Aren't counted.
Well, then that one doesn't qualify.
All right. And what about your rules trial, VFL Coburg Werribee? Will you go along and have a look?
I think it's tomorrow afternoon. I'm at the Hawthorn Essendon game.
Oh, so you have a look at a tape?
But if it's appropriate, there's a great process led by Steve Hocking with a lot of people involved, and I'm letting that process play. Jeff
Kennett says sports betting is a huge problem, and he's given the AFL a kick over it, which isn't unlike him. Your reaction? Time to cut it back? Advertising?
I think what we do is work hard at a balance. I think if you start picking off different categories, whether it's fast food or alcohol or wagering, you're at risk of being inconsistent. What we try and do is have a fair and balanced approach to all these things. We have partners in wagering because we get access to information. It supports our gambling code of conduct and helps the integrity of the game. We do have restrictions about how much can be at venues on scoreboards. We don't allow live odds between quarter to quarter using our footage in play. So we have a voluntary set of restrictions, and we think we land in the right spot.
You'll be very excited about this after 10 o'clock in the studio. Hamish and Andy.
Are they on? I thought they were rivals of yours.
Have you heard of them? Oh, we're big enough to handle that.
That's very. I appreciate that.
They're
very funny, Hamish and Andy. Are they here now?
Yeah.
I get to meet them. It's exciting.
Oh, you're going to be excited. Would you like an autograph?
Yeah, probably.
You want mine?
You've already given me yours.
Gil McLachlan. Hamish and Andy, I don't know why. Something to do with TV. 9600 693 13 13 32.